Namaste. I'm very excited to share with you the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda. Today's topic is Ayurveda Chikitsa. Chikitsa means treatments. So we will look at the different treatment protocols that are used in Ayurveda for healing and treating various ailments and diseases. Let us start with the Ayurvedic understanding of human being and human life. According to Ayurveda, a human being is a very complex, multidimensional entity. We have 3 levels of existence. We have a physical body, we have a mind, and we have a soul or the spirit. Let us look at the human body. The human body has a structure and performs various functions. Now, if we look at the physical body, we see that the structure is made up of 5 elements. One of the fundamental principles of Ayurvedic philosophy is that everything in the universe is made up of 5 elements. Therefore, our physical body, the food we eat, everything that we interact with is also made up of 5 elements. Whether it is organic universe or the inanimate objects or pure natural elements, which can be found in the form of rivers, mountains, minerals, metals, mud, stones, etc., gemstones. All these are form or combinations of 5 elements. Similarly, everything in our body is also made up of these 5 elements in several permutation and combination. Therefore, we can interact and grow and nourish ourselves with everything that exists in the universe because our basic composition is same. Now, these 5 elements, when they come together, they make the different body tissues, different body cells. These tissues come together. According to Ayurveda, we have 7 basic body tissues, and these tissues come together to form different organs in the body. Different organs get connected with each other to form very complex systems, like we know the digestive system, we know about the respiratory, cardiovascular, so many systems that work and coexist and function simultaneously, almost interdependently. And these various organs and systems, they are connected by different channels and pathways, and these are called srotas. Now, these are very important structures in the body because they just are not flowing the different substances in the body, but they are also managing the flow of different energies. So while understanding a human body, we also need to understand the energy body. According to Ayurveda, all the physiological functions in the body are done by the 3 energies, which are Vata, Pitta and Kapha. They are also called 3 doshas. Now, if we look at the different functions, there is a lot of things going on at the same time. Movement, digestion, there is growth, there is a lot of transformation happening. All these are physiological functions, and they are happening because of these specific energies. Now, Vata, Pitta and Kapha also are very dynamic in nature, and they grow as we grow. The food nourishes them, and then whenever they are in a state of balance and equilibrium, we have good health and we have good function. The body is functioning very well. But whenever they are out of balance, we experience some kind of disease. This energy body also is divided into 5 different sheets. So the different energies that coexist in the body, they are also separated by these sheets, and this is called the Panchakoshas. The 5 elements are called Panchamahabhutas. The energies or the doshas are called 3 doshas, and then we have the energy body, which comprises of 5 sheets or 5 koshas. One is called the Annamaya Kosha, the outermost sheath or layer of energy. This particular energy feeds on the food, the gross food nourishment, and is made up of food. The second is Pranamaya Kosha. This sheath is made up of prana, or the subtle energy of air. this connects us with our atmosphere and brings all the subtle life form into our body and nourishes it. The Manomaya kosha is the sheath of mind, and this helps us to communicate and contact our higher self with our physical body. The Vijnanamaya kosha is the pure intellect, almost like our sixth sense, our higher intuitive sheath. And then the coremost, the innermost is Anandamaya kosha, the sheath of bliss, where our soul or the divine light resides. Now, if we the physical body with this energy body also is functioning along with the mind. Now, if we look at the mind is again a very complex entity. We have mind that performs very specific functions, and as soon as the mind is created in the human being, it is constantly functional at a cellular level, at a systemic level. The functions are about constantly gaining and gathering information and analyzing it and then storing it as a memory. This is called Dhi, Dhruti and Smriti. Dhi means to collect or gather information. Mind is very curious, very inquisitive, and it constantly wants to know something. Dhruti is the analysis. So as soon as some information is brought to the mind, it is analyzed, it is judged, and then it will be stored based on its usefulness or based on its specifications for long-term memory, short-term memory, or various other types of memories that a human mind is capable of. Now, to do these functions, to perform these functions, mind is also equipped with 3 tools. These 3 tools are also called gunas. Gunas are qualities of mind: the sattva quality, the rajas quality, and the tamasic quality. The sattva quality is the quality of all good thoughts, good emotions, good actions, good performance of the mind, everything, the good behavior. Rajasic quality is about ambition, about excellence, about determination and going to the higher level. Tamasic quality of the mind helps the mind to stay at peace, to rest, to pause, or to even let go of things. Now, all of these qualities are important in their individual aspect, but we have to understand them from the level of equilibrium, because any overuse or misuse or underuse of any of these qualities can disturb the mind and its functions to a very great extent, and that creates a lot of imbalances and instability of the mind, almost leading to insanity. If the mind is not in a balanced state, a lot of psychosomatic diseases can happen. So having a complete understanding and a complete grip of the mind is a very important thing that a human being needs to master. Now, all this information that comes to the mind is gathered by 5 sensory organs and 5 motor organs. It almost looks like the 5 sensory organs and the motor organs are constantly providing or working to help gather all these information or to even please the mind for different pleasurable experiences. The mind also collects a lot of data from the thoughts, emotions, and the subtle impressions that we collect from the surroundings, from the environment, from the people and the places and everything else that we interact with. So mind can also be called as a connector between our physical self, our physical body, and our higher self, which is the soul. So let us look at what is the understanding of soul in Ayurveda. As we have seen that the human being has different levels of existence, so at the level of the soul, we are actually incorporating within ourselves the life itself, or the soul is the living entity within us, or soul is like the divine light that resides within us. That's the spiritual aspect of the cosmos that dwells in us. And the mind, body and spirit together form the human being. Now there's another important thing in Ayurveda that is a very unique concept of Agni. Agni is fire element, but it has tremendous potential of transforming everything that comes in contact with it, and it's a permanent, irreversible transformation. So when we talk about Agni in the physical body, Agni in the mind, it is a complete transformation, or even Agni in the soul, which is the source of light itself. This complete transformation at various levels within the body, mind and soul can really help the human being to transcend and excel in various areas, and to the ascension of human being into higher realms. If we look at the physical body, we have several types of Agnis that are mentioned in Ayurveda at a cellular level, at a systemic level, at different organ and tissue levels. So the most important master Agni, or the main fire, is the digestive fire, or the master Agni in the gastrointestinal tract. It can resemble some of the chemicals and the digestive enzymes that are present. The Agni works through them. Then there are the Mahabhuta Agnis, the elemental Agnis or the elemental fires in different tissues. So we have 7 basic body tissues. The Rasa Dhatu, which is the plasma tissue, Rakta Dhatu, which is the blood tissue, Mausa Dhatu, which is the muscle tissue, Asthi Dhatu, which is the bone tissue, Majja Dhatu, which is the nerve tissue, Medha Dhatu, which is the adipose or the fat tissue, and Shukra Dhatu, which is the reproductive tissue. So in these 7 tissues, they have their own respective elemental fires. And then we also have the Agnis that are residing in the liver. For liver is like a chemical factory in the body. So we have the Bhuta Agnis of the 5 elements, we have the 7 Dhatu Agnis, and then we have the master Agni. So apart from these, there are many other Agnis, but at this level we can just look at the Agnis, and what the function of the Agni is to completely break down, digest and transform whatever is coming to the body. Now food comes into the body through the gastrointestinal tract. We also have seen that mind brings in, the sensory organs bring in a lot of information. They need to get digested and transformed, just like the food. And then lot of other subtle impressions are also collected by the mind through our reading, through our interactions, and through a lot of other non-physical ways of communication. We gather many things that need to be transformed and reformatted into a body required reconfiguration. And this is all done by all these various types of Agnis present in the body. Now for sometimes the Agni may not be able to do this optimal function, and then what happens? Whenever the Agni is not doing the function that it is supposed to do, there is formation of arm. So this arm is again a very unique concept in Ayurveda about describing how toxic material can be collected in the body just because the Agni is not functional enough to transform everything that comes into it. So very important thing to understand here is that whatever we take in needs to be transformed, digested, and then whatever is not used needs to be excreted or eliminated periodically. So unless this whole cycle of metabolism and excretion and transformation is happening at a very profound optimal level, we may be collecting a lot of toxins, a lot of unwanted, semi-digested, undigested, a lot of toxic material will be piling up, and at various levels, again at the physical level, in the digestive tract, at tissue level, at cellular level, at psychological mental level. And if we keep on creating more and more of this arm due to lack of transformation, then we will be creating a lot of toxins and blocked pathways. So these throtas, these organs, these tissues, these channels that carry various substances and perform physiological functions, the pathways of the energies, the sheets through which these energies move, all these can get eventually blocked, and once they start getting clogging and blocking, this will be one of the major cause of different diseases. Now let us look at the three energies or the three doshas that we saw in the energy body. The three doshas are Vata. Now, as we have seen, everything in the universe is made up of 5 elements, so are these energies. The Vata, Pitta and Kapha, 3 energies made up of 5 elements. So we have the qualities of these elements residing with these energies so that they can perform specific functions based on the qualities of these elements. Vata is space and air element. So if we just look at the space and air elements, the air is very light, it's very subtle, it moves. Space is a very huge, it does not have any beginning or end. It is basically ether. It's a void of everything. And then it is very subtle. It has the quality of expanding and occupying any minute place that it can find. There's dryness, lightness, mobility. So what does Vata do inside the body? In the human body, anything that requires movement, or any movement that is happening in the human body, any activity that is going on, like locomotion, any heart activity or peristaltic activity, any movement of hands and legs or eyelids, or even the thought process, because a lot of things need to move as we are thinking or as we are performing any reflex actions, any sensations, all these are controlled by Vata. So whenever this Vata energy is in a state of balance, we will be experiencing all these functions to be happening in a very normal way. Whenever the Vata energy has any problem, any imbalance, that means the dryness increases or the lightness increases, the mobility increases. A lot of these functions can become very aggravated, or sometimes they can also be diminished. If the Vata is not able to move things, there will be stagnation, lack of movement, and the body can get paralyzed or stationary. Let us look at the Pitta. Pitta is the combination of fire and water elements. So therefore all the qualities of fire and water, which is heat, liquefying, but at the same time when we combine heat and liquidity together, it's almost like volcanic lava or like boiling water or any corrosive acids. So what this Pitta energy is capable of doing in the body is anything that comes in contact with the Pitta, because of its heat and liquefying and corrosive nature, it will digest, transform, metabolize and completely convert that substance into a body required element. It will convert gross food into our body tissues and body energy. Whenever this Pitta is functional in an optimal level, everything is going on fine. Our Agnis are very ignited and strong. But whenever the Pitta energy is diminished, our Agni will not be working very well. The digestion and transformation will be compromised, and then we can develop the toxic substance in various forms of harm at the physical level and even at the psychological level. Now the third energy is Kapha. Kapha has the elemental composition of earth and water. Now earth being very dense and gross and very static, and water being liquid, gives the combination of earth and water elemental qualities can create heaviness, stickiness, cohesiveness, and with the help of these qualities, kapha can help the body to grow, to give structure to the body for general growth from childhood to adulthood, and even a day-to-day growth of wear and tear to heal and repair, stability for the body, endurance and peace. So whenever this kapha is doing all the normal functions, the body is healthy in those aspects. But whenever it is out of balance, the kapha diseases can create overgrowth, that can create too much of lack of activity, which can result in either obesity, stagnation, or any kind of fluid retention kind of diseases. So the important part about three doshas, the energies, vata, pitta, kapha, is that they need to constantly be in a functional equilibrium. Now this concept in Ayurveda is very well described as the status of health. The status of health is also called Prakruti. Now, according to Ayurveda, every individual, every human being comes with a Prakruti, or a very specific mind-body constitution. Right at the birth, this constitution is determined, and what it exactly explains is Prakruti is like a combination, like a individual code, a sequence that is given to us at birth, and it gives us the equilibrium of our vata, pitta and kapha energies in the body. So whatever the structure of the body, whatever the function of the body, how the mind is going to work and function, and how are we going to be as a personality, as a body type, how we are going to look and behave and think and feel and do different things in life, or what kind of activities we are going to do, what kind of skills we may excel in, what kind of diseases we may have. The entire chart of a human being can be known just by knowing the Prakruti. So in Ayurveda, this is one of the fundamental things that one should know. What is your basic mind-body composition or mind-body constitution? So this Prakruti gives us the idea or a reference point about our health. So whenever the three doshas are in a balanced state, when we say balance, this is not a quantitative balance. The balance here is referred to the equilibrium or the functional equilibrium of the three doshas with the reference point of the person's individual mind-body constitution or Prakruti. So at the level of Prakruti, the person is at a complete state of health. The person will have very optimal Agni based on the equilibrium of his doshas. He will have very healthy tissues, very proper healthy growth, clear pathways and channels, very optimally functional organs and systems, also periodic transformation leading to regular excretion and disposal of wastes from the body and from the mind, and that makes the mind very functionally and energetically very healthy, very peaceful and blissful, and the soul also experiences enlightened state because of this entire healthy mind and healthy body. So we can see that knowing the Prakruti means knowing your reference point. So when something is not right within us, and we feel that at a very subtle level within us that something is not right, that state is called the state of dis-ease or the state of Vikruti. Now this begins with the imbalance of three doshas. So again, looking at the Prakruti, our reference, our individual mind-body constitution, what is out of balance? If we can find out which quality of Vata or Pitta or Kapha has gone out of balance, we can look at the status of the Agni. We can look if any arm is created or not, and all this can be done through various types of examination methods. One of the very fundamental examination method used in Ayurveda is called pulse reading or pulse diagnosis. There are several other methods also. We can interrogate the patient about his diet, about his lifestyle, about the person's general behavior and stress level. We can look at the tongue, we can look at the eyes, we can look at many other aspects of the human being to figure out what dosha and with what quality has been out of balance and for how long. So based on the collection of all that information, we can analyze the Vikruti and help the person to unblock the pathways, to regenerate the defective dhatus or the organs, to clear out all the waste products and the arm and the toxins from the body, to heal the mind which is disturbed or not in sync, and then we can restore the Prakriti, restore the balance or the equilibrium of the doshas and bring the person back to a state of Prakriti or state of equilibrium. Now, the different causes of the diseases, like what causes this disharmony or this imbalance or this dis-ease or this disturbance of energetic configuration within the dosha. So there are many factors. As we have seen, the mind is constantly searching for different things. The sensory organs are reaching out and trying out different sensory pleasures. The motor organs doing locomotion and bringing all the information to the senses and then helping to please the mind. So with all these functions going on constantly and simultaneously, we have a lot of chances to create this scenario. In Ayurveda, it is called Asatmya Indriya Artha Sanyog. That means improper contact of objects of desire with our sensory and motor organs. So, for example, we have been given eyes and that enables us to see things. Eyes are for vision and ears are for auditory sense and we can hear things. Nostrils are for smelling and we can have the sensory pleasure of various fragrances. Now we also have a tongue for tasting the different tastes that the food and the drinks that we ingest have, and we can also have the sensation of touch with our skin. Now, if we are connecting the right kind of senses with these sensory organs, it will be a pleasurable experience and we can store that as a memory and we can have that experience again and again as pleasure. But if the experience is overuse, so if we are overusing or not using a specific sense organ at all, or we are abusing it or adversely using it, misusing it, then the sensory and the motor organs, they can become dysfunctional, they can be delusional, and then whatever is coming to them, or if they are not exposed to anything, for example, motor organs like our hands and legs, if we never work, if we have an extremely sedentary life, they will start getting very stiff and we will not be able to use them anymore. Same thing with our sensory organs. If we are overusing it, like if we are constantly exposing our eyes to various toxic light, extreme glares, constantly watching very unstable videos or something that is very provocative in a way to disturb our vision, all these can be considered as a overuse or abuse or misuse and underuse of our locomotory organs. All this can create various diseases. So Asatmya Indriya Artha Sanyog is one of the causes of creating diseases and imbalance in our system. Now this another cause that is very well described is called Pradnya Parad. Pradnya means our intellect, our buddhi, our the way we think, the way we can make decisions. So when we have a misguided intellect or misinformed thought process, what will happen is everything that we are doing is coming from a source of ignorance. Whenever we are not understanding things clearly, when our intellect is misguided, so we are thinking of something but not really doing it, or we completely have a wrong information that we consider to be correct, and that is what happens with this misguided intellect. One of the good examples is a lot of people nowadays having obesity or wanting to lose weight get into this trap of several types of diets, several types of supplements, several types of weight loss formulas, and believing in so much of information in this information world. Nowadays it's at our fingertips, so it's very easy to get our intellect misguided by so many advertisements through media, through all these big claims that these products make, and with that we can start creating an imbalance, because a lot of those things may not be specifically favorable for us. In Ayurveda, we always have to any advice, any suggestion, any dietary modification, any herbal formulations that we give to an individual are very custom made, are very tailor made, because we first look at the person's individual mind body constitution of Prakriti, and using that as a reference point, we administer different substances to heal him, to treat him. But then when we are looking at something that is purely commercial in nature and may not be very useful for us, and continue to overuse or abuse that substance, then the misguided intellect would be a very important or a major cause of creating disease pathology in our system. The third cause of the disease that is primarily explained is about different cycles or rhythms in the nature and in human life also. We have it's in Sanskrit it is called parinam. Parinam is also like the effect of different cycles or rhythms that are around us, that are within us. So in a human body we have menstrual cycle, we have a life cycle where we are growing from childhood, infancy to childhood, from childhood to the age of youth or puberty, and then we start growing into the middle age or old age, and this is the natural cycle of life. So if we try to fight against, abuse this natural process of growth by speeding it or by restricting it or by reversing it, we are definitely going to create many major causes of diseases and imbalances in our body. Also the cycles in nature, like there is a day and night cycle which we need to respect and follow. There is a seasonal cycle that we need to follow and respect, and if we go according to the rhythms of day and night, that means sleep in the night, be awake in the day, eat major meal at lunchtime, have small dinner in the evening before sunset, so that the body can actually use all these natural elements of fire and natural energies of sunlight and moonlight and the different seasons like summer and winter, and all these things have a very profound effect. Or the moon cycles, the different stages of moon, they have a profound effect on our menstrual cycle, on our mind and our thoughts. So all these cycles, if they are respected, if they are considered as a part of our human physiology, and we align with these cycles, then this cause, the parinam or the cycles or the time factor being the cause of disease, can be completely eliminated. Now let us look at the Ayurvedic understanding of the pathology of the disease. So we have all these imbalances that we create because of improper Agni, because of formation of arm, because of imbalance of the three doshas, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha qualities that we are imbalancing by the three major causes of disease, the pathology. Now, the disease does not necessarily happen overnight. It's a very long and slow process. That means the body and the mind is constantly trying to prepare us or to give us a hint, give us some signal to reverse it, to stop things going further, to arrest the disease at a very, very primary stage, so that it will not end up being a very debilitating thing for the person. So the 6 stages in the disease pathology and how it progresses are very well explained in Ayurveda. The 6 stages begin at the site of, it starts with the site of the Vata energy, Pitta energy and the Kapha energy in the human body. Now the Vata energy, though it is functional all over the human body and mind, or Pitta energy is also functional and present all over the human body and mind, and so is the Kapha energy being present all over the human body and mind. But then they also have a specific areas which we call as the main site of that dosha or main site of that energy. So Vata energy has a main site in colon or the last part of large intestine. The Pitta energy has its main site in the middle part of the digestive tract, like the liver, duodenum, gallbladder, pancreas, that area which is the area of very high secretion of enzymes and where the master fire, the Agni principle is very active. And the Kapha energy has its main site in the upper part of the digestive tract, where the upper 2/3 part of the stomach, where we have also the lungs in the chest cavity, and the lung area is also very in the close vicinity. So that area is the main site of Kapha dosha. So in 6 stages of Samprapti, the first stage is called the stage of Sanchaya or stage of accumulation. Now in this stage of accumulation, what is happening is anything that we are gathering from the atmosphere that has Vata type of qualities, that means air element and ether or space element kind of qualities. So food, atmospheric conditions. So let me give a quick example. Now if we are going to eat a lot of raw food, lot of food that is very aerated, like carbonated water and drinks, like popcorn, and very dry, dehydrated, crispy, savory foods, all that is going to create more air and space energy in the body. So if we keep on collecting that over a period of time, we also, if we happen to live in very cold, dry, windy atmosphere, or we are having these kind of foods in the season which is very Vata quality, the fall season, that is supposed to be having lot of windy and dry and cold qualities. So if we look at all these things, it will just make a accumulation of same qualities coming through food, coming through environment, coming through the weather, coming through our lifestyle. If the person is also having a very very active lifestyle, then all that will bring in more and more Vata qualities. Now if whatever Vata we need to perform our daily body function, it's just like, you know, eating more calories. Whatever calories the body needs to utilize, those will be burnt up, but then anything extra will be stored, and then that's how we gain weight. In the same way, when we have too much of Vata qualities coming in, but then we are not really using all those qualities, they will start accumulating. Where will they accumulate? They will start accumulating in the main site of Vata. Main site of Vata being colon, we will have all the Vata qualities being saturated and accumulated over there. Now the person, if he does not have the understanding of this concept, he may still indulge in using all these vata aggravating foods, exposing himself or herself to vata type of atmosphere, vata type of lifestyle, and this will keep on aggravating all the vata type of qualities of lightness and dryness and mobility and coldness, all that will, which has already accumulated, now we are going to aggravate it. That is called the stage of prakopa. The third stage is the stage of overflow. Now the accumulation is happening, aggravation is happening, and then the person is still continuously getting exposed to the same qualities of vata through food, through atmosphere, through activities and all other factors. That vata will not be able to contain in the main site of vata anymore. It needs to move. So it's just like overflowing from, if you are pouring water into a bucket, the tap is on, and after the water reaches the brim of the bucket, it will start overflowing. The similar thing happens in these energy reservoirs. The vata will start flowing out of its confined space. The energy needs to move out, and the energy of vata, being very active, very mobile in nature, becomes very restless, very aggravated, and this overflow starts moving in all directions, uses all the energy pathways and channels that it finds open or clear. And if it doesn't find something open or clear, it will start creating a very destructive or a disruptive effect on those blocked pathways. It can even crack it open. That's how we have strokes at times, or we have things like osteoporosis or different pathologies, because the energy is so aggravated, it's so profound, that if it does not find a clear pathway or a channel to move, it will just break apart whatever comes in its way. And then it will try to relocate in a favorable spot, which is, according to the human physiology, it will be a very weak or a compromised spot. That is called sthana samshraya. This is the stage of relocation where the body and mind will be having a specific weak area due to repeated trauma, due to genetic weakness, due to any other pathology, infections, or anything that has happened to that area, or just a improperly nourished tissue. It will become a place where all this vitiated, this deranged, aggravated, overflowing energy can go and reside. Now this place happens to be a specific tissue. So vata has an affinity for relocating in bones and joints, in muscles, tendons, and also in the nerve tissue. These are its favorite places. When this happens, then we have a complete manifestation of a disease pathology. This stage is called the stage of Vyakti. So we have a full-fledged disease which we can name. We can give it a name like osteoarthritis, or it can be any specific disease pathology that will be created. And then, very specific to Ayurveda, we have a stage of diversification, which is the sixth stage of Samprapti. In this stage of diversification, based on the prakriti of that individual, the person may have vata type of, if we are considering the arthritis, then the person can have a vata type of arthritis, a pitta type of arthritis, or a kapha type of arthritis. And what it means is the signs and symptoms will be very specific to that person's prakriti or the constitution. And though the disease pathology may have a specific name of arthritis, it will still have a specific set of signs and symptoms which are more prominent with vata or with pitta or with kapha. So with vata there will be more dryness, more degenerative changes. With pitta there will be more infection and some kind of a toxic pathology, and with kapha there will be more stagnation and purulation, and something related with accumulation of fluids. If we look at the different the 6 stages of samprapti, we will be able to see that the accumulation and the aggravation, the first 2 stages, it was very easy to identify something going wrong within us based on the qualities of vata, or based on the qualities of pitta or kapha. As soon as we experience some kind of signs of accumulation and aggravation, and we can deal with that right then and there itself, we can basically reverse the entire process and not let the entire samprapti go through the 6 stages and manifest a disease. So in Ayurveda, one of the important treatment protocol, the chikitsa, is refraining from the causative factors. Nidana parivarjan. Nidana parivarjan means, first of all, if you know what is causing the problem, then completely stay away from the that causative factor. So for example, if I know that eating fried foods, very rich oily foods, is going to make me more fat, I should be staying away from those kind of substances, or have them very sparingly and very in a very minimal quantity and very periodically. As far as we can, or if we know about a specific substance that does not agree with us and gives us diarrhea or nausea or vomiting, then it's best to stay away from it. So this itself becomes a preventive measure. This is considered as a treatment in Ayurveda or a chikitsa in Ayurveda, but in a way it is something like a preventive medicine. There's also Swastha Vritta, which is the science of health maintenance. In Swastha Vritta, we learn about how to manage our life by following certain principles of good habits and good health and good behavior. And this itself becomes a part of the treatment protocol, because we may not actually need to take any medications or herbs as far as we follow most of these principles periodically. Now, the science of health maintenance also helps us to not only stop ourselves from having a specific imbalance or a disease, but also helps us to enhance in whatever prakriti we have. We can become more and more stronger, build up our immunity, and also become more and more balanced human beings, and use all our resources to the optimal or to the maximum capacity. So we always hear and we always learn that human mind is so much strong and so much more powerful. Human body also has a very high threshold of limits, and we have hardly been using 10% of it. So when we follow this whole science of Swastha Vritta, we can actually enhance ourselves to or to even go beyond the limits of what we think we can do in various levels, in levels of learning and education, or developing skills, or to do different physical or psychological tasks, or do different things that overall seem impossible humanly. Now, if we focus on the chikitsa part, like once we already have a disease pathology, already we have gone through the whole 6 stages of samprapti, and the disease has already become a part of us, then we have to start again from a very small way to more aggressive way. So Ayurveda never starts with, you don't need to use very aggressive methods for simple things. So we always start with simple things, and most of the times we have seen that very simple things can create magic and miracles in diseases that are considered almost incurable or impossible to cure, including diseases like cancers or certain types of allergies, or some other conditions that are not necessarily fatal, but they people have to just live with them. But with Ayurvedic chikitsa or treatment protocols, we have been able to reverse these pathophysiological conditions, or these kind of even genetic conditions. They can be we can help to stop the progression, we can help to reverse the pathology and get the person's body and mind healed, to make him back as a healthy individual and to have the prakriti reinstalled. So the shaman chikitsa is one of the most primary types of treatments that we use. In shamana means to pacify. The palliation is the very strong, very a profound way, but the most simplest and the easiest way, and a very primary way to start the process of healing. So in this palliation, or in the shamana chikitsa, we are just going to pacify the doshas. So if we see that the pitta is very aggravated, the person is having lot of burning sensation because of aggravated pitta, the fire is too much, there is redness of eyes, there is burning sensation in chest, all we need to do is give the opposite quality. The opposite quality will be of heat, will be cooling. So in Ayurveda, one of the important things in studying the herbs and the food and the diet, or even for the general consideration of what is used in healing, will be the entire game of opposites, the play of using opposite qualities. So if we are going to have some burning sensation, some redness, some acid reflux, the immediate thing that we give. So I was talking about the shaman chikitsa. We use the opposites of whatever is out of balance, we can use the opposite quality. So if somebody is having a burning sensation, the opposite of burning is cooling. So wonderful home remedies that can be used for a burning sensation. Something cooling substance will be use of coconut water, or simple ghee, coriander juice. So if somebody has dryness or cracking or immobility in the joint, you can use warm oil and heat fermentation, and or some kind of moisture. This will help to clear the imbalance, because we are using the opposite quality to pacify. So in shaman chikitsa, everything is use the power of opposing quality and help to get rid of all the signs and symptoms right at that stage of very primary level, so that the disease does not progress or enhance and go through the whole six stages. A lot of home remedies are suggested for example, if somebody has pulmonary congestion, some kapha or mucus is accumulated in the digestive, in the respiratory tract, then we can use aromatic oils or herbal fumes to open up those blocked channels and pathways. Something like eucalyptus or camphor or ginger, these things can be used. Simple modifications in diet and lifestyle, like staying away from certain foods. Like if somebody has a tendency to gain weight by eating a lot of sweets and oily foods, or you're having a lot of cholesterol built up due to eating a lot of junk food and fried processed food, then you can stay away from that. So this is also a part of shaman chikitsa, palliation and pacification, and using the opposite qualities. Also abstinence from disease causing factors, as I said, with if you are having any problems of by eating a specific substance, you are having by eating cucumbers or eating popcorn, you're having a lot of gas, or eating raw food, you're having a lot of gas, then try to eliminate or avoid those kind of substances. That itself will be considered as a shaman chikitsa, or a pacifying treatment. The next treatment is called shodhan chikitsa. So shaman is on the spot, we try to calm and pacify the doshic imbalance. In shodhan chikitsa, we go a little step further. We try to use primarily gentle means of cleansing the body, or removal of any kind of disease forming toxins, or any qualities of doshas that can be eliminated from the closest pathways. Body has lot of natural orifices and pathways through which periodically all the excretory substances that are formed as a part and parcel of the body's natural processes of metabolism and transformation. So the same pathways like urinary tract, or respiratory tract, or the skin pores through which sweat is excreted, or the rectum through which the fecal matter is excreted, all these pathways are used for excretion of any of these toxic disease forming substances also. So in the shodhan chikitsa, we are going to, shodhan means cleansing, so we are going to start with gentle substances, very mild substances that can help to enhance this natural cleansing that is happening. So simple laxatives like Triphala can be given, something like turmeric that cleanses the blood, that can be given, or we can use more aggressive forms of shodhan when required. In that, we need to give a very deep, thorough cleansing, and more aggressive formulations, more stronger herbs are used, and this can cause some vomiting, some diarrhea, or some kind of strong purging. These specific more stronger or aggressive type of shodhan chikitsa are also grouped under a specific therapeutic treatments. They're called panchakarma therapies. Now the name panchakarma means five main types of therapies. In these therapies, we are using the two factors. One is the natural outlets for the body, and second part is the main site of dosha. So in the body, we have seen vata, pitta and kapha are functional all over the body and mind, but each of them have a specific area where we call that as a seat of vata, or main site of vata, main site of pitta and main site of kapha. So for vata, the colon and the rectum area is where the vata is found, and that is the main site of vata, though it is functional all over the body. For pitta, it is the middle part of the digestive tract, which is the site where all these digestive enzymes are secreted, the area where duodenum and gallbladder and pancreas and lower part of the stomach and small intestine, all those are coming together in that middle part of the digestive tract, where our main fire, our digestive master Agni, is also present over there. So that area is the main site of pitta energy. And then for kapha energy, the main site is the chest cavity and the upper 2/3 of the stomach. So these specific sites, these specific areas where these doshas are present, the nearest outlet for each dosha is chosen. So for kapha, the nearest outlet will be the oral cavity. So any aggravated, accumulated and very adherent and very chronic kind of disease pathology that has happened because of the kapha imbalance, the way to thoroughly cleanse and perform this panchakarma for kapha will be by giving vamana chikitsa. Vamana means medicated emetics. So specific herbal formulas and concoctions are made, and the person can vomit out all these excess imbalanced kapha out of the system. It's a very deep, thorough cleansing, so a lot of preparation is involved. The person needs to be prepared for over a period of 15 days to 3 weeks or more to perform the Panchakarma treatments. So this whole Panchakarma therapies, they go in 3 stages. One is the preparatory phase, second is the actual treatment phase, and the third is the recovery phase. So for Kapha dosha, it will be emetics or Vamana Chikitsa. For Pitta dosha, it will be Virechana or purgation therapies. Similarly, for Vata dosha, it will be bastis or enemas, which are given in the form of medicated oils and medicated decoctions, and infusions are administered in the colon in the form of enemas or basti. For the upper head, neck and the sensory organs, the main pathway is the nostrils. Nasa hi shirasodwaram. The nostrils are considered to be the pathway for all the brain centers and the sensory organs. So any cleansing that is required for this, all these organs and all these areas of the head, neck and sensory and the brain diseases, the cleansing is done through the nostrils. So different herbal powders or herbal oils or any kind of medicated juices or drops are administered through the nostril, and a thorough cleansing is done through this pathway. The Rakta Mokshana is bloodletting. So whenever the toxins and impurities are more prominent in the blood and the lymphatic system, the body tries to eliminate them through the pathway of this circulatory and the lymphatic system. And to enhance that, you can do something called venesection or the puncture of one of the blood vessels, and some blood can be drained out. Also in ancient times in Ayurveda, we used to use of specific kind of leeches which had the intelligence of only drawing out the toxic blood and leaving the pure healthy blood intact. So these kind of Rakta Mokshana techniques are used even now, or we can use a simpler version of Rakta Mokshana or blood cleansing by using herbal compounds that are capable of purifying and transforming and detoxifying the blood by using herbal substances, herbal remedies. The use of all these natural pathways for these 5 different therapies, Panchakarma therapies, are also associated with lot of other allied treatments, allied therapies. As I already said, there is a preparatory phase. So in the preparatory phase, there is a strict dietary protocol. There are certain pranayama and exercises and some rest routine that is has to be strictly followed. This helps along with the medicated oleation or massages and drinking of oil or ghee, and also svedana, which is medicated heat and sweating is the person is exposed to these kind of svedana techniques or hot stone massages or steam baths, and this helps to draw out, to mobilize all these adherent harm and toxins that are embedded deep into the tissues, into the organs and into the system. So once they are all mobilized and dislodged from wherever they are adhered and sticking or glued to, they can easily be expelled through these natural pathways which are closest to that specific dosha site. Along with these other techniques like Shirodhara, Karna Purana, Janu Basti, Kati Basti, Udvartana, then Pizzchili massage, Pinda Svedana, many other techniques that are used are going to enhance and help this cleansing process, this aggressive Panchakarma and the Shodhana cleansing treatments to be more and more effective. So this entire treatment protocol can last anywhere between 2 to 4 to 6 to even 8 weeks, depending upon how chronic the person's condition is, what his age is, what are the different techniques that are going to be used, and how thorough the cleansing is going to be. The follow-up of these thorough cleansing detox therapies is done by Samsarjan Kriya. Samsarjan Kriya is a very gentle way to ignite or re-establish the optimal level of Agni. Because of all these thorough cleansing techniques, lot of the body becomes slightly depleted and weak, and the Agni and all the energy needs to be built up and restored. It is just like recovering from a very prolonged or a very strong surgical treatment. So the recovery time is also set based on how aggressive the treatment was, and the Samsarjan Kriya with very mild soups and very simple food and very simple gruel and ghee and all the Agni building digestive spices and herbs, and slowly building up the strength of this Agni. One of the simple remedies that is commonly given is Hingashtak, which is a mixture of herbs like asafoetida and cumin and ginger and cinnamon, along with different salts and ghee that can really build up the Agni. And periodically, if you increase the amount of these foods or these herbs, it keeps on building that, and once it is strong, then you can go to the next treatment, which is the Rasayan Chikitsa. Rasayana means to rejuvenate. So after the Samsarjan Kriya, the Agni is optimally built up, then we need to rejuvenate or make that organ and system very strong and very fortified. And in the stages of Samprapti, we have seen that whenever there is a organ or a tissue that is weaker, all the toxic material that is floating around tries to relocate and form a disease pathology in that specific region. So rejuvenation techniques or the Rasayan Chikitsa actually helps for certain diseases that have a tendency for repetitive relapses or attacks. The person may suffer repeatedly with pneumonia or tuberculosis. So in that case, to strengthen the lungs, if it is pulmonary tuberculosis or pneumonia, then to strengthen the lungs, we use something like Pipali Rasayan. So in Pipali Rasayan, Pipali, which is long pepper, is used to in the incremental dose of 1 to 21 in 21 days, boiled in milk, and this helps to strengthen and fortify the respiratory system, the pranavaha srotas, in such a way that any time in future the person gets exposed to adverse conditions that are going to be the causative factors for similar illness, that person will not contract that illness. The lungs and the respiratory system will be so strong, so fortified and so rejuvenated that they can stay away or refrain from this kind of relapses to happen. Also for rejuvenation, we use some gold infused water. We can also use the Amalaki Rasayan, Dhatri Rasayan, there is Haritaki Rasayan, there is Chawanprash formula. Also sometimes the Rasayan Chikitsa is important for people who are very depleted, like very small children or infants that are recovering from any chronic ailments, or some old patients. In the geriatric treatments, we use the Rasayan Chikitsa and building up of the ojas. The other forms of Chikitsa are they are classified as Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa. In this Chikitsa, Yukti means to create a specific target, a specific direction, a specific methodology of treating various ailments. So this Yukti Vyapashraya Chikitsa uses the entire knowledge of Prakriti, Vikruti, Agni, Am, the doshas, the science of disease pathology or samprapti, and then properly looks at how to reverse the disease or how to heal and treat, what kind of substances or formulations have to be administered. Sometimes simple techniques of using food or diet as medicine, kitchen remedies, herbs and spices, just making alterations in the timings of eating food, or moving or relocating to a different geographical location, use of water, just lemon water for cleansing, or use of water from copper or silver containers, or gold infused water that can be used. So simple things can be used to pacify 5 elemental imbalances. Also, Ayurveda is very advanced in herbal formulations. So the entire pharmacology of Ayurveda is based on making different types of herbal preparations using plants, some minerals, sometimes metals, or different parts of plants also, fruits, seeds, roots, bark, stem, flowers, buds. Lot of these things are used to make medications in the form of pills. They're called guttis or vatis. There are avalehas, Ayurvedic herbal jams. There are oils, there are decoctions and wines. There are teas. They can be used in the form of powders or churnas. They can be used in the form of incense or elixirs. They can also be used in the form of any balms and ointments or salves. So various forms of Ayurvedic formulations and remedies are used in this Yukti Vipashya Chikitsa based on the disease. Also sometimes some minor operative procedures or Shalya Chikitsa using different instruments can be done. For these remedies, for the Yukti Vipashya, there are 2 things that can be considered. One is Hetu Viparit. Hetu Viparit means when the medicine is administered based on the causative factor. So if the cause of a wound or an abscess is infection by a pathogen, by a virus or a bacteria, something that eliminates or takes care or kills the bacteria or the virus, if that is given, then automatically the abscess or the wound will be healed. So this particular idea of using a remedy against the causative factor is called Hetu Viparit. An example will be to give neem against a skin wound or a infection caused, the wound that has been caused by an infectious pathogen. And neem can work against that infection, therefore the wound will be healed. Then the Vyadhi Viparit Chikitsa is a specific formulation that has been created to work against the disease pathology, to actually heal or treat that disease itself. So immaterial of what has caused the disease, if we have a medication or a formulation that actually heals the disease itself, then we give that. And one good example will be Kanchanar Gugul. Kanchanar Gugul is a compound made up of several herbs. One of the primary substance is the bark of Kanchanar tree and the resin Gugulu. This, along with several other herbs, makes this potent formula of Kanchanar Gugul, and the specific disease pathology that it works on is thyroid goiter. So immaterial of the causative factor for getting thyroid goiter, we still use that as a Vyadhi Viparit. That means something that works against the disease pathology. Now, in the Yukti Vipashya Chikitsa, we use different herbs, formulas, and make an entire disease protocol. We also may use the Shodhana and the Shamana Chikitsa, all under this category of Yukti Vipashya. But sometimes that may not be used for certain age groups or certain times when the person is extremely weak or very old or very young, or if it is a female patient who is a lactating mother or a pregnant lady. So in those times we may not be able to use lot of herbal remedies, lot of formulas. Some things may be contraindicated. So in that case, we can give some of these treatments that can be still effective and help to move the person through this critical stage. That is called Daiva Vipashraya Chikitsa. Daiva means divine. So the chikitsa or the treatment protocols where we are using the light of the divine or the spiritual healing. It can be used, administered through energizing or balancing or healing the chakras in the body, to use the use of different koshas or the energy sheets like the Manomay kosha and the Pranamay kosha, those energy sheets, and healing through the prana like the pranic healing, the chakra healing. All these techniques are used, and because they are very subtle, they are very profound. We feel that the gross substances can help healing the gross body, but whenever we are using these subtle techniques and the subtle substances, it not only helps to unlock and enhance the flow of energy in these subtle aspects of the body, but it has a profound effect on all the gross problems and the diseases or dysfunctions happening at the physical level. So the energy healing techniques and the Daiva Vipashraya, where we are going to use the spiritual and the divine healing powers, use of mantra, meditation and chanting is very well incorporated. Several mantras to target specific diseases or to heal specific organs and systems are very widely used in Ayurveda. There are many books and many specific number of chanting, like sometimes you may want to do 108 repetitions or 11 repetitions or 3 repetitions or 7 repetitions of certain healing mantras like the Mahamrityunjay mantra or the Gayatri mantra, and this can have a very strong effect on the overall mind, body, psychosomatic ailments that the person may be suffering. So whenever it is used, even for an adult who can take all other herbs, if he adds this Daiva Vipashraya Chikitsa along with the Yukti Vipashraya and Shamana and Shodhana techniques, the healing will be much faster, much stronger and more permanent. Also, certain ceremonies were done in the ancient times to heal the atmospheric the elements that are around us. So fire ceremonies, water ceremonies, earth ceremonies, ceremonies to calm and pacify or purify air and ether. All these things were done very regularly, or even when somebody was having a specific imbalance in a specific element in their system. So these ceremonies also give us a reason to understand that a human body and the universe around us are made up of same substances. The 5 elements that make our body, that make our physical matter, are the same 5 elements that are found in the universe. So whenever we have created this kind of harmony by creating this balance through ceremonies, through prayers, through exchange of these positive energies and prana, we have always seen that a profound balancing and healing can be achieved, and this is the Daiva Vipashraya Chikitsa. There is also something called Sattva Vajay Chikitsa. Sattva means all the positive qualities of the mind. So whenever we say some positive qualities, that means good behavior, good thinking, good habits, good choices. Whenever the mind is capable of making all these positive things, it will get very empowered. And when we enhance all these good qualities and good behavior of the mind, automatically the sattva faculty of the mind is very elevated. We only see and feel and think and emote good things. We don't react to things, but we try to resolve and respond to our situations and stressful circumstances. And for attaining this kind of state of mind, to enhance sattva qualities, we need to surround ourselves also in a spiritual atmosphere. We need to go for a meditation or group meditation, perform yoga regularly, do pranayama, and have different breathing techniques, and build up our ojas by eating the right food and balancing our energies. Maybe use gemstones and different healing waters and colors. So in Ayurveda, for sattva chikitsa or sattva vajaya, like enhancing our sattvic intent of the mind, we can always have more and more empowerment and more fulfillment. As we have always heard, the human body and human mind has tremendous capacity. We have not even tapped into 10% of it. We barely use a very fraction of what we are capable of. So using the sattva vajaya and the daiva vipashya chikitsas, we can actually enhance the human being to a level of excellence where all the functions are optimal, as well as all the mind and the energy principles are at the level where they can excel in all achievements. There is also a certain classification of treatment protocols based on the medical specialties. In ancient times, Ayurveda was a full-fledged medical science. So the broad classification into 8 categories based on different medical specialties. I'll just name them and explain them very shortly. Kaya Chikitsa. Kaya means the physical body. So Kaya Chikitsa will be all the treatment protocols, all the chikitsa that is done to the physical body. Physical body also means mind. So in that physical body, we consider something in modern medicine similar to the internal medicine, the treatment of physical and psychosomatic diseases that the body can suffer, like digestive diseases, respiratory system diseases, cardiovascular, neuromusculoskeletal, gynecological and obstetrics. So all these medical specialties were covered under the Kaya Chikitsa. And in Kaya Chikitsa, mostly herbal formulations and the Shodhan and Shaman chikitsas were given. All these herbal formulations that were specific to the disease or specific to the causes of the disease, and guidance of food and lifestyle and other modifications was suggested. The next specialty is the Bala Chikitsa. Bala means children. So this is the science of pediatrics, and all the treatments that are necessary for different diseases that the children may suffer from are explained in this Bala Chikitsa. Graha Chikitsa. Graha Chikitsa is about how to create a peaceful atmosphere and environment, because based on the Ayurvedic philosophy, whatever is within us is outside us and vice versa. We may have effect of whatever happens in the atmosphere. Even if the stars, planets, moon, comets, they are very distant, they are very far away, and we can even live in a very air conditioned, very protected atmosphere in houses and dwellings that are very much confined to all the environment that we have artificially created. Irrespective of that, these planets and the atmospheric bodies can have very crucial effect on our well-being, on our health. And in Graha Chikitsa, there is a complete understanding of how to heal and treat the effects or the diseases caused because of certain planetary positions, certain moon phases, and certain atmospheric conditions that can create those imbalances within us. Urdhvanga Chikitsa. Urdhvanga means the part of the body that is above the clavicle, above the entire head neck region, which also hosts the sensory organs and the brain centers. So any diseases that are happening, like the ear, nose, throat, eyes, any kind of diseases of nervous system and the brain, they are all treated and healed by the protocols in the Urdhvanga Chikitsa, diseases of head, neck and shoulder. Then Shalya Chikitsa. Ayurveda is considered to be very advanced in surgical techniques, and some of the surgical techniques and the surgical instruments are even used in modern days. So anesthesia and different use of different prosthetics and treat diseases with by using the surgical techniques is explained in Shalya Chikitsa. The next is Danshra Chikitsa. Danshra means toxins or poison. So it was the entire science of toxicology. In Ayurveda, any toxins or poisonous substances or anything that creates adverse reaction to the body, like allergens or pollutants, they have specific healing techniques and protocols and antidotes, and they are explained in the Danshra Chikitsa. Jara Chikitsa is, Jara means somebody who is aging or who is getting old. They have specific diseases and need a very special care and attention, and the whole science of geriatric care is explained. The treatments and the different healing techniques, mechanisms and protocols are explained in Jara Chikitsa. Vrusha Chikitsa is the specialty of rejuvenation. Rejuvenation, fertility, immunology, all these are the branches of Vrusha Chikitsa. The fertility medicine is not necessarily for if somebody has infertility problems, but the fertility medicine or rejuvenation or immunology was all given to people who wanted to excel or enhance in having children that have the best qualities of their parents. So to enhance the future generation or to create more stronger progeny, those kind of formulas and treatments and cleansing methods were administered in the Vrusha Chikitsa. Also rejuvenation techniques which included people who are recovering or people who want more enhancement of health and strength, they were given certain chikitsas. In modern world, we see a lot of people who are bodybuilders or who go to personal trainers to really enhance their ability, enhance their physical and mental capacity. So in Vrusha Chikitsa, through immunology, through fertility and through rejuvenation and through building up of ojas, similar results of enhancing oneself in physically and mentally and psychosomatically were administered. Now, one very unique thing in Ayurveda is the definition of health. So, though Chikitsa treatments are very wide, very well explained and very effective part of Ayurvedic medicine, one of the most important thing is how do you define health? How do you remain healthy? What is the definition of health? So I will just say the Sanskrit shloka and just explain in short what it means. The definition of health according to Ayurveda is Samadosha Samagnischa Samadhatu Malakriya Prasannatmendriye Manaha Swastha Ityabhidiyate. That means the definition of Swastha, a healthy person who is established in himself, the self or the spirit or the soul is established in a blissful state only when the Sama dosha, the doshas are sama or balanced. Sama dhatu, the dhatus are balanced and optimal and having normal growth and function. Sama agni, agni is optimal and doing proper complete transformation. Malakriya, excretory wastes are being periodically and thoroughly cleansed and discarded. Prasannatmendriya manaha, the indriyas are very blissful, satisfied and fully functional, the sensory organs and the motor organs, therefore creating a very happy, peaceful and very blissful, satisfied mind. And in that kind of an atmosphere, the soul will live in a very blissed and enlightened state. Such a person having all these things put together will be established in self, means swastha, means healthy, will be balanced at the level of the prakriti, or will be very balanced at the level of his constitution. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share this knowledge of Ayurveda. There's a lot of things that are very interesting that can be shared, and as we all know, Ayurveda is such a big ocean of knowledge. We can only know so little, and the more we know that we know so less. So thank you very much, and I hope I can share more things in future. Namaste.